What's up everybody, this is Cob and welcome to a slightly different type of video from the usual. In this video we're just going to be talking about a question that a lot of you guys have been asking me in comments as well as private messages and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes while I'm streaming as well. And that question is, am I quitting World of Warcraft or am I moving away from the game in some kind of way like that? I suppose a bunch of other higher profile players, people like Soda Poppin', and then YouTubers like Thyraz and even Zwen. You know, people are just starting to stray away from the game a little bit, it feels like. I guess I just want to address any anxieties that you guys might have. Just talk about my feelings on the entire subject of, you know, the direction that WoW is going and how I feel about it. So I'm going to talk about a few things in this video. Most of them are going to be to do with what I think, you know, personally, what I think is wrong with the game. With regards to PvP, of course. And as well as just talking about them, I think I'm just going to brush over really quickly what I think Blizzard could do to fix it. But I will say right from the get-go, just in case anybody is panicking or some shit and typing up a comment right now, I have no plans to quit the game in the immediate future. I perhaps don't feel as committed to the game as I once did, but that I felt like that for like maybe the past year, maybe a little bit longer even, which is part of the reason I've been trying out other games and stuff like that. But to put it like that, you know, I'm no more interested in quitting the game as I have been over the past year. So no panic, guys, no panic. Everyone just calm down. What I mean by not being committed to the game is, I suppose, if something better comes around, or you know, something really, really grips me like WoW did when I first started playing it, and I really just want to go after that, then I'll probably do that. But right now, there is nothing that is doing that for me. So now that that is out of the way, I want to talk about the people who are moving away from the game, and I suppose why I think that is, what the triggers are, what the causes are, why it feels like more people are doing it this expansion as opposed to previous expansions, where we've never really felt this kind of staleness before. If that's a fair description, I don't know how many people are going to agree with that, but I suppose I'm going to try and justify that in this video, why I think that is, why I think PvP is coming across as kind of stale and a little bit, you know, as if it's in a rut. That's the only way I can put it. I'm very, very sure that some of the things I do talk about, you guys will agree with. I'm even more sure that some of you are going to disagree with some of them, which is fine. It promotes discussion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below as I go through these. I've got a bunch of things that I want to talk about. Hopefully I'm not going to spend too long on any one point. I want to get through these fairly quickly. I don't want this to be like a fucking 25-minute video or some crazy shit like that. So I guess I'm just going to get started. So like I said, we have a notable amount of players moving away from the game, or it feels like people, you know, their attention isn't being held as much as it has been in previous expansions. We've seen it with Thyraz, for example. I think he's the best example. I hope he doesn't mind me using him as an example, and all these players moving away from the game, it just has a sort of doomsday feel to it that I think has got a lot of people uneasy. Maybe that's why some of you guys have been commenting about this. So I guess, what do I think is wrong with PvP? What do I think is driving people away? To start things off, Ashran. I was one of the people who was extremely excited by the idea of Ashran. I think a lot of people were hyped about it. I think it brought a lot of older PvP'ers back to the game who were maybe hoping for, you know, a revival of the Tarren South Shore days with an entire world PvP zone dedicated to, you know, to naturally flowing PvP events, and it just seemed like this awesome idea. But I suppose it didn't really turn out that way. It more just turned out to be a huge Zerg fest with lag spikes and queue times and you know, this compulsory conquest cap that you have to go to Ashran to obtain, and, you know, too many NPCs in the zone, fucking elites everywhere on just about every road, screwing up any kind of natural world PvP that might have taken place there. And it has ended up just feeling like a gigantic, huge, ridiculous Alterac Valley, but it basically ended up just being garbage. I don't know a single person who enjoys Ashran. I, for one, just don't go there. I think I got half of a cap once, or maybe I got the full cap, and I think that was on a live stream. I don't know if anybody saw that. I think I actually just went there the other week because I was so desperate to get good world PvP clips, and I just thought, you know, if I go to Ashran and I sneak around the back of the alliance, maybe I can pick some guys off and get like a 1v2 clip or something like that, you know. And it just seemed like it seemed like a feasible idea, you know. But of course, what happened was I tried to sneak behind enemy lines when I wasn't getting anally raped by NPCs. I was just not finding anybody. There were no other allies just roaming around. Why would they be? There are objectives spawning all over the place. If you're not at an objective point, you're basically with the Zerg. You're in one or two places, you know. There's no natural PvP going on in Ashran. But anyway, I could QQ about Ashran a lot more than this. The point is, though, that it was a new PvP feature, and it was something a lot of people were excited about, and, you know, it put this idea in our heads that Blizzard were going to really start to look at PvP and take it seriously as a part of the game that a lot of people were passionate about, but Ashran just turned out to be garbage. So that's that. That was just a huge letdown in general, and I think that annoyed a lot of people right from the get-go. Another problem I find with Warlords of Draenor, this is moving on to a completely other point, is that the combat just feels garbage. Now, I don't know if that's just because I'm a Destruction Warlock and things feel extremely slow-paced to me, and you know, melees are just running me over like I don't know what. I think generally speaking, the general feel of the game and the feel of PvP, with burst damage being toned down and all this kind of stuff, it's just led to the PvP feeling sluggish and clunky. And all over again, I guess, like the start of every single expansion, pretty much in the history of the game, melee players are basically having the time of their lives in arenas. You've got warriors and DKs and ferals and rogues, while on the other side of things you've got casters like Destruction Warlocks and Elemental Shamans and Shadow Priests are sort of swept aside and swept under the table. They are basically repeating the same patterns that, you know, have been repeated every single expansion before Warlords of Draenor. And I think a lot of people felt like, you know, this was going to be the one, if there was ever going to be an expansion that was going to change things and really make a difference, it was going to be this one. It just feels repetitive and slightly mundane. Ability pruning mishaps like the removal of Fellflame, for example, and I'll say a mishap because that must have been a mistake. That can't have been thought through properly, because you look at the destruction spec now. I don't know how the demonology spec is doing, but at least the destruction spec is fucking struggling, man. Like, it feels like we've never had it worse. Even in Cataclysm. In Cataclysm, we suck balls. Again, this is going back to the point of we expected Warlords of Draenor to do something different and take the game in a new direction and really look at PvP. And it just hasn't. Which is why as soon as the expansion came out and I saw that destruction was extremely weak, a lot of people were saying, oh, it's fine, you know, we'll make threads and we'll try and get in contact with the devs and we'll tell them that, you know, we need Fellflame back. We should get Curse of Elements and Backlash back, or, you know, a Kil'jaeden's Cunning buff. Not just some crappy cooldown reduction. But I kind of knew, you know, in my heart of hearts that I'd been through Cataclysm for a year and a half and nothing had changed. They didn't listen to any feedback at all. Destruction Warlock sucked balls in Cataclysm. It sucks even more now. Are they going to change it? No. So I basically experienced Cataclysm, and seeing the lack of attention paid to, you know, to the destruction spec from the devs was actually quite disgusting. So when people came to me and said that they have to buff Destruction Warlocks in Warlords of Draenor, I just wasn't convinced. And lo and behold, you know, we are no further forward. Times have just not changed. We still have the same old little handful of niche classes that are dominating, while other classes are just left for literally for over a year without receiving any kind of meaningful buffs. Fire Mages are also in the same boat. I have no doubt in my mind at all that they are also going to remain, you know, at the bottom of the food chain, if you like, when it comes to Mage PvP. So I suppose to a lot of people, myself included, it feels a little bit like that, yeah, like I said before, old patterns are just repeating themselves. Now the next thing that I'm going to bring up is something that either people are going to disagree with, or maybe a lot of people haven't thought about, and that is the fact that there is just no progression in PvP anymore. You essentially log in every day, get your cap. It's a grind. You don't have to push rating to get gear anymore. You essentially log in, get cap, you know, queue your 30 minutes in Ashran, then ult F4 before you develop the edge to kill yourself, and then you're just awarded gear that way. And of course now they have the catch-up system and all of this stuff to help players who've been away from the game for a while. So it's even easier to cap. You don't even have to log in every week if you don't want to. And the gearing process can be quite satisfying, seeing your character get stronger and stronger. At least for me, it was a hopeful process. I was really hoping that gear would make a really big difference to the way that Destro plays. Didn't quite pan out like that. But the problem is that once you're fully geared, after just grinding it quite easily, you know, after a few weeks, a couple of Ash rank caps as well, you basically have nothing to do. The way gearing used to work in PvP is that you had to attain a certain rating to unlock access to a piece of gear. So for example, you required 1400 rating to buy the gloves, or 1550 to get the legs, and, you know, all the way up to 2k rating to get the shoulders. And that really did give a sense of progression. I know there were some people, myself included again, when this system existed, I never got fully geared in any of the seasons. I just wasn't good enough. This was back in the Burning Crusade, you know? But at least that system of doing things actually gave you a way to, it gave you a reason to log in. It gave you a reason to find an arena team, and stick with those guys and get to know the way they play and push rating with them, and you know, the feeling of satisfaction when you got to a rating that would grant you access to a piece of gear, you know, was just awesome. I don't know. This might just be a personal gripe for me, you know. I'm not expecting everybody to agree with this system. I expect a lot of people to disagree with it, actually. But I'm just saying that the way that you currently gear up, it just doesn't feel like you're achieving each piece of gear, you know, like maybe you did back in the days. I don't know, maybe I'm just being nostalgic. Once you get fully geared, either your class is viable, in which case you can push arenas, push arena rating and stuff like that if you want to, or RBGs, basically in the same boat. Or your class is not viable, and you're gonna have a bad time. Like me myself right now, the only reason I log in is basically to play Battlegrounds. I play Battlegrounds, I will PvP. I still love making videos, so I do that, I guess. But when it comes to arenas and all that kind of stuff, even duels, you know, your class just isn't desirable. You are essentially limited by your class because they don't pay enough attention to balancing PvP. Now, of course, all these are just my opinions. I don't want people to go fucking crazy and fly off the handle with me. If you have a different opinion to mine, please do share it below. It would be awesome to get a discussion going about the stuff that I'm talking about here. My main point though about having a rating requirement on each piece of arena gear, you know, maybe just the top 5 pieces like legs, shoulder, chest, head, whatever. You will typically be far more motivated, you know, to work hard and really strive for an item in game that is going to make your character stronger, as well as look awesome, as opposed to working for an achievement to pop up on your screen, for example. You know, a random 2200 achievement that's there and then it's gone on your screen, and it doesn't really mean anything beyond the meaning that you yourself assigned to it. Next up, we're going to cover this one extremely quickly. Has anybody else noticed that the number squish actually didn't happen? I've always found that a little bit peculiar. Not a lot of people seem to bring that up, but what happened to the number squish, you know? I mean, at the beginning of Mr. Pandaria, we had around, I think we had something like 340k health. That was, of course, in, you know, the first tier of Gladiator gear, the blue gear. Now in game we have something between, you know, 300 and 400k, which that just doesn't make any sense at all to me. I don't know what the fuck happened with the number squish. I think everybody was expecting Wrath of the Lich King, you know, Cataclysm numbers at the highest, but I was personally expecting something between Wrath and TBC. That was probably unrealistic looking back. But I think we all expected a little bit more than that. I don't think that has anything to do with why people are quitting the game, but I just thought I'd throw it in here for the sake of it. Now, to go a little bit more into the whole question of, am I quitting the game? Am I quitting anytime soon? You know, is that why I'm playing other games and all this kind of stuff? What I said earlier about not feeling committed to the game is something I've been feeling for a long time. It was something like halfway into the Mists of Pandaria expansion, I think after I released Cobrak 16. I just relaxed for a while and I took a step back from the game. I tried out Dota 2, you know, among a bunch of other games, League of Legends, stuff like that. And I suppose I realized that there are other things out there. I've been playing WoW at that point for something like, would that be 6.5 years? It's quite a long time. But once I took that step back, I've never really felt the urge to step forwards again and fully immerse myself in the game like I used to. You know, during the Wrath and Cataclysm days and all that kind of stuff. And again, like I said earlier, if something comes along in the future that really grips me and pulls me in, and I think, you know, would be awesome to make videos to in live stream and stuff like that, the chances are I probably will jump on board with it. But even having said that, I honestly can never see myself really quitting World of Warcraft. You know, I love making montages too much. I still love the thrill of 2v1ing people, of trying to 3v1 people and stuff like that. World PvP, when you can find it at least, is still awesome. So even if I virtually leave the game behind completely and, you know, move on to other things, I will still probably be coming back at least every, you know, week or so to record for the next montage, you know. So I don't want anybody panicking about that. I'm not packing my bags, I'm not upping and leaving, I'm not deleting the YouTube channel or anything crazy. But having said that, I do want people to be aware that, you know, it might not be World of Warcraft is the main course of the channel forever. You know, 2 years from now, will I still be pumping out 3 or 4 WoW videos a week? It's fairly unlikely, to be honest, isn't it? I don't think it's a realistic prediction to make for anybody to say that yes, I definitely will still be making 4 videos a week and streaming 5 days a week this game 2 years from now. I don't think anybody can honestly make that prediction and you know, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, so I suppose that's that. Again, this isn't a QQ video. I'm just kind of expressing my opinions on the whole thing, on why people might be might be feeling the urge to take a step away from the game. Again, all my opinions completely. Please do share any thoughts that you guys have down below in the comments. I will be eagerly reading through those, replying where I can. So anyways, guys, I just want to thank all of you for watching. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening to me ramble on a little bit. This video has been requested quite a few times, so I thought I'd finally get it out there, you know, make my thoughts clear. So yeah, that's about that. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Remember to leave a like if you did enjoy this video. Spread it around if you think it's useful, or you've got a friend who might agree with some of the things that I've been saying. But in the meantime, stay awesome, everybody. And I'll catch all you guys just a little bit later.